jadi wangane
I think this is a beautiful place because it's untouched. I've been overseas once, or twice actually, but only for a week each time. A lot of people like going overseas and going to different countries, whereas I'd rather see what we've got here. Worked as a deckhand for a long time until I got my skipper's ticket. And then I went crabbing with the licence that my father had and spent probably about 15 years crabbing for a living. We have such a unique coastline which is not destroyed by industry like it is down on the east coast and in places on the west coast, so we are pretty lucky that we have pristine waters, semi-pristine anyhow, except for places like Darwin Harbour. It's important to show people what special little jewels we do have in the Northern Territory. Bear Sandy Island, Blue Holes, Lindeman National Park. I think the whole world should get to see these places. My home is situated on the banks of the Adelaide River in the Northern Territory, and Adelaide River is about 120 kilometres south of Darwin. I've just finished hooking up my boat to the car and loaded up the esky with food, and we're off on an adventure. How lucky are we to live in a place like this? This is what we've got in our backyard. More people should be getting involved in protecting all these areas. The first place we're going to go to is Bear Sandy Island to go and see the turtles nesting and the hatchlings coming out. I think Bear Sandy Island is another little gem that we have in the Territory. Well, there's not too many places where you can actually go and see turtles coming up the beach and then see hatchlings coming down at the same time, and it should be protected.
They nest on the high tide, and so we start our work 2 hours before the high tide. Teams will go onto the beach and we stay on the beach until the last turtle has finished nesting. We have 2 species of turtles nesting on bare sand. The most common one is the flatback turtle. It does swim into some of the international waters around New Guinea and East Timor, but it nests only in Australia. So if you like, it's a marine koala. We don't see it anywhere else. And this is one of the closest sea turtle nesting areas to Darwin, the capital city of the Northern Territory. It's a great island for them. Being uninhabited, there's no light on the island as such, there's no other native animals that are likely to impact them or other introduced species, so they can nest here to their heart's content. I think turtles live in good places, and you find that combination of the sea and beaches and the sun, it all comes together. And understanding that environment and putting a value on it, you can say there's great value for these natural places, great value for these wild places. Part of that is these animals that come and go at will and lay their eggs in the sand warmed by the sun, and you're privileged to be part of it, just as an observer. It's a great experience.
Bear Sandy Island is a pretty special place. Turtles make a lot of people feel good when they see them. I've taken a fair few different people out to the turtle place and they can't believe how many there are and what a good day it's been to see them. And having people on the island to appreciate this and learn from it, I think it should be more of it. There's a huge area there for tourism, but there's so much more opportunity there for people to make economic headway rather than go mining or gas or fracking or anything like that.
Well, Lloyd, bless him. If you even have a look at him and me, our wardrobe's much the same, our outlook's much the same. He's just a decade behind. I just absolutely love to see that there are people coming through that are so top-end Territorian like him.
We're going out to the Blue Holes with Bill Bousted, and we will be leaving Shoal Bay boat ramp, and it'll probably take us about an hour to an hour and a half to get out there to go and have a look at some amazing coral. Yeah, well, normally at half tide, Blue Hole becomes landlocked and you end up sitting inside that for the next 6 hours until the tide comes back in again. And you'll just see the most amazing coral that I've ever seen anywhere in the Territory anyhow. Never been to Barrier Reef, so I don't know what that looks like, but what I've seen is just the most amazing little place ever, and another little jewel. Bill won't be out of the water. He'll be in the water circling them and just what he's been doing for the last 30 years. You think that someone would get sick of seeing the same thing after all them years, but not Bill. He goes and does it again and again and again and loves it like it was the first time. I think it's important to go and have a look at the Blue Holes because of the threat from development not far from there, and that's the last thing you want, is that place to be threatened or destroyed.
From my property in Shoal Bay, it took us about an hour to get up around Gun Point. We witnessed there magnificent stands of mangroves. There's suspicion that it has been flagged for so-called dirty port and heavy industrial development. It would be an absolute criminal tragedy if they went ahead with any development that could impact on any of that area before they absolutely know what jewel that area is.
If they're dredging on the outgoing tide, it goes out and then it goes straight through that blue hole. So there would be heaps of silt going into those blue holes.
Mangroves and tidal wetlands are not systems that work independently of their neighbouring ecosystems. They are intimately linked. There's a direct connection between these habitats. Fish growing up in one will move to the other. The coral reefs will not be the same coral reefs without the mangrove forests along the shoreline.
Basically a conflict of, yes, we want to develop the north, but we want to retain that sense of freedom that we can generate from here, and part of that freedom should be, in fact, caring for the environment.
We need ports, can't live without ports. It's really about whether you can develop them with better ways. In Australia, our environmental impact assessment process is broken and flawed and subject to big business interests very heavily.
To get older mangrove forests is really special. They are occurring in a few places in the world. The question that people, I guess, locally need to ask is how do they value these things that the natural environment is giving? Because they, unlike most other people in the world, have a choice.
And then next we're off to the Lindman River National Park, and it'll probably take us about 8 hours at a comfortable speed to get there. I think lots of people in the Territory go camping a lot and to get away from the city as much as they can. favourite pastime would be going to beautiful places, especially to do with water, fresh water and salt water, or just going bush and camping beside the river somewhere, catching some yabbies and some bream. I think it's like a passion to go and look at new places and go and see places you've never been to before. It'd be like going back to the old days, like the hunting and gathering days. A lot of people still have that in them, even though we've evolved to go to the supermarket rather than go and see what's around the corner. Today we're going to talk to Steve. He was born in Borroloola, been here all his life and understands so much about the local area.
My old man was a crocodile hunter and he used to take me out as a kid, and yeah, I've done a fair bit of it myself. I've owned a barrow NT current licence for 38 years and I've finally had enough. A few rules and regulations and the fish stocks are going down. It's a lot less now than what there was 10 years ago. Been in the bush all my life, so I'd sooner live on my own than have people around. Yeah, we're fairly remote. We're 500k either way virtually from the nearest town.
Steve's starting to notice the mangroves dying at the front. Apparently from Lindman River here to Weipa there's 300 kilometres of dead mangroves out of 500 kilometres, which is very concerning, and it's still growing. And it would be worthwhile having a look at, because it's something I've never ever seen before happen to mangroves.
Yeah, we'll probably go up the coast a bit. Only trouble is we need to be on a high tide to get right into that shallow waters.
My totem's barramundi. There's trimmings up the coast here. My grandmother totem was a grey mangrove, which is the one that's dying. Yeah, which is sad. We took photos, we took some sample as well to try send away. We don't really know what to do with that. Just to try get the ball rolling and find out.
We went that early that we forgot to take the ribbon with us. We had an old shirt in the boat, so I ripped it up and marked that treat, and then hopefully go back in another week and have another look at them. And I'll guarantee that it'll be all dead. This grey mangrove's been dying since late last year that we've seen of it, but it's right through the Gulf of Carpentaria. Now the crabs are going backwards and they breed in the mangroves. They normally stay in there until they're half size and then they go to sea, but this year I've been seeing them along the coast. They're very small crabs swimming out to sea, getting away from that rotten mud. Yeah, it's not looking good. If I was still barra fishing, I would be really going mad about it, but now that I'm a sea ranger, well, I've just got to get out there and do our job and see if we can try and help identify where the problem is.
"7,000 hectares of mangroves have died, all in 1 month. Essentially, when you have an event like this, there's a tipping point being reached. Could be from clearing or maybe because of the hot water, combination of 2 or more factors. This is part of the puzzle and the forensic exercise is to try and work out that interplay of factors. I can say that it's probably largely to do with moisture stress, the length of the drought. Based on what we know about the predictions of the way climate's going, temperatures rising, changes to rainfall, more severe storms, all those predictions say that we're expecting large-scale changes. We're not responding well to this. There's no money for people who are concerned to get out in the field.
It is very important to get people to talk about it and understand. So far we have travelled about 900 kilometres in the vehicle and done about 400 kilometres in the boat. I had permission from the local traditional elders of West Island to camp at a place called Crocodile Point. The amount of falling stars you could see without light pollution was absolutely amazing. Stanley from the Sea Rangers at Borroloola met us at West Island, which is his country, and showed us the changes that happened in his lifetime.
Growing up, you think it was playing, but it was more being learned, being taught by the elders and that. We used to collect a lot of oysters as we were coming through close to camp for the night. As we were getting there, we'd probably start our little hunting, maybe see a turtle track, we'd follow it up, dig for eggs. We were taught to only take what you can eat, never to take more than you should. That was to keep the stock intact for our future use. Turtles now are very small in numbers, like with track counts and stuff. Everything's reducing really slowly and to a smaller number. That was sort of half the reason I joined the Rangers, to find out if it's overfished or if it's something to do with the weather and that. I'd love to see it the way I used to see it. It's not a big change, but it's big enough to say that some of the stuff that I did see is gone now.
While in Borroloola, we met up with Nancy McDenny, who was actually born on Fatfella Island, and just listened to her concerns about the changes she's actually seen in her lifetime.
It used to be beautiful country, like beautiful island. We didn't worry about it in a long time. We used to just swim and running around in when we was a little kid. We used to get crab with my grandmother and go along the sea there. And we like to see more signs, like checking up all the seaside and the reef and the seagrass, mangrove, because we don't know why they're dying.
No one can understand except for me.
Yeah, we're heading back to Darwin. It'll be about 900 kilometres.
Me, like everyone else, has seen the fish stocks go down.
We're not facing big changes around the world, they're already happening.
You go out there and only get 2 or 3 crabs a day, or everyone's going broke.
The conflict of, yes, we want to develop the north.
7,000 hectares of mangroves have died, all in 1 month, and that's a big shock.
We want to find out now why it's dying.
Tomorrow we'll be meeting Morgan, who is a celebrity recreational fisherman, and we'll talk about the trip that we've just done and the things that we've seen. It'll be interesting to see his views on protecting the environment, whether it be mangroves or river systems. Recreational fishermen don't get along with each other, professional fishermen don't get along with each other, and it's really hard to bridge the two together when both sectors have trouble getting together.
Like all Darwin born and bred, I could see Lloyd from 50 metres away and say that bloke could cook my crab. The younger people around the Northern Territory don't have this friction with the commercial sector as our dads did. We're sort of looking around like, why are we fighting? Like, what's the big deal here? As I've got older and come in more personal contact with a lot of these people commercially fishing, they're not the enemy. A lot of them are just as conscious for the environment as we are. Everyone notices the depletion of fish stocks around here, and we just want to know why. I don't know how much to put that on just natural depletion of a species, or is it overfishing, or is it development of the coastline? I don't know these things. I mean, having Lloyd sort of really dig around for information on why these things are happening, I really believe in what he's doing, and I believe in his heart that he's out for the greater good. So I'm willing to back Lloyd with whatever he does.
I think that we should all bind together and be eyes and ears for the environment. Everywhere we've been, we've met nice people, amazing people doing great work.
Steve just told me the other day that there's been all of these mangroves that have been dying. I'm interested in seeing just the extent of what the damage is and how quickly it's happened, because I've been coming here now for nearly 20 years and I haven't seen the mangroves dying. Steve showed me the picture in the book of a turtle eating the fruit from the mangrove. That turtle's not going to live, that nullarbor, it's not going to live if that mangrove dies. Reading it out is one thing, but seeing the pictures is another. So at the moment we're doing a big painting of that turtle eating that fruit from the mangrove.
I grew up with the elders in the late 60s in Borroloola there. I got introduced by one of the elders to Lemon Bight area and used to go out hunting with them elders and harpoon that saltwater turtle, and you'd find the remains of some of that seeds in them and always wondered why. Now with that painting that Norm gave us in that book, you really understand and it really hits home.
My grandfather made this song up. It's been passed on from old ladies and old men. It's about the sea turtle coming out from the sea to lay eggs in the sand.
The top end is one of the last frontiers. I think a number of people have got a respect for it, but quite often people don't appreciate it until they start to see that they're going to lose it.
I always expected someone else to be raising awareness about the depletion of stocks, about the mismanagement of coastline. Like, I thought that there was a department that asking the government, hey, what's going on here? But then you sort of look around and you sort of realise, hang on, it's actually me who should be speaking here.
The main feature of the top end is that it's an area that's becoming unique in the world. The habitats are still healthy and intact, and they can be easily looked after, relatively speaking. Rather than having to restore and fix things, they're already there and functioning and performing, making lots of fish and mud crabs, supporting healthy populations of turtles and dugong.
I always thought it was going to be protected until there's a threat, and when there's a threat, that's when we have to act on it. It comes back to the same thing, share it or lose it. And these locations have been pretty well, not secret, but not very well known. But when it comes to a threat, then people have to see what's there to help protect it. We don't want to see these places destroyed, we've got to protect them as much as possible.